So everyone, please recite the prayers along. And let me just raise the screen. Yes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashatai Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Everyone with the hands raised high. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you each one of you for joining us for today's evening session of Mahabharata. This is the fifth session on the series of discussion that we are having for Mahabharata. And today we are going to discuss the Vana Parva, which is the third canto or the third chapter of Mahabharata. So prior to this, when we met last time, we saw how Pandavas, after getting married to Draupadi, they were invited back to Hastinapur by Dhritarashtra. Not willingly, unwillingly. Dhritarashtra had to follow what Bhishma Pitama Vidura had to tell him that time. So Dhritarashtra invited Pandavas back, now this time along with Draupadi, who is married to Pandavas. And then the discussion happened about what to do, who should be the king, who should be the next prince. And because Duryodhana was not willing to let go of his newly acquired role as a future king, so just to keep the matter low, not to have fight between brothers, Pandavas and Kauravas, so it was decided that the kingdom would be divided. Hastinapur will be with Kauravas and Khandavapras will be with Pandavas. The Khandavapras, as we discussed earlier, was a barren land, yet Yudhishthira Maharaj, with all humility, accepted it. They went there, Yudhishthira Maharaj along with Pandavas went to Khandavapras. They worked very hard and they built a beautiful city with the most magnificent palace built by Mayasur. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he started to rule Indraprastha, Khandavapras became Indraprastha. Then they performed a Rajasuya sacrifice, and to acquire wealth for it, Arjun, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadev went all the four directions and they acquired wealth necessary to perform the sacrifice. And whoever was against the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj, they fought with them and established Dharma. And like this, a successful and a grand Rajasuya sacrifice was performed, and in which Duryodhana and Shakuni had also participated. And when Duryodhana saw the glory of Pandavas, when Duryodhana saw their magnificence, when Duryodhana saw their opulence, when Duryodhana saw how happy they are, and when Duryodhana saw that the Pandavas have got more than what Kauravas have, Duryodhana became filled with envy and anger. And this is what, whenever you see the name of Duryodhana, always remember, Duryodhana is someone who represents the character of envy. Jab bhi kabhi dvesh ki baat aaye, so the classic example of it is Duryodhana. And today we'll see how envy blinds a person and envy becomes the cause of one's own destruction, as in the case of Duryodhana. Duryodhana becomes so envious of Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas, he goes back to Hastinapur and he tells Shakuni, there is no purpose left for me to live in this world. I did everything to cheat the Pandavas, yet Pandavas have become so successful. I will commit suicide. At that time, Shakuni, Karna, and Dushasan, three most trusted advisors of Duryodhana. However, all these three people were very envious. They were envious of Pandavas for different reasons. And they all three came and they counseled Duryodhana that you don't have to worry. We are there with you to support you. And that's the time Shakuni came up with a plan to organize a dice game. Why dice game? Why a gambling match? Because Shakuni was too good in gambling match. Nobody could defeat Shakuni in a gambling match. कर्ण ने कहा नहीं गैम्बलिंग मैच क्यों करना है, ये क्षत्रियों का खेल नहीं है, क्षत्रिय वीर से लड़ते हैं, क्षत्रिय शक्तियों के बल से लड़ते हैं. We will fight with Pandavas and defeat. And that time Shakuni told Karna, you cannot defeat Pandavas because Pandavas are under the shelter of Krishna. And this is not the time to fight. We have to win them through cheating. So then they all approached Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra said, gambling match? Not at all. Gambling is a sinful activity that will cause a lot of destruction. And Duryodhana said, and you will see between Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, there was always a one single conversation. अगर कभी गलती से धृतराष्ट्र मना भी कर देता था, तो दुर्योधन would always say, okay, dear father, if you don't want to fulfill my desire, I will commit suicide. And whenever Duryodhana would say, I will commit suicide, and Dhritarashtra would become so emotional, no, my dear son, I will fulfill all your desire. And like this, from his childhood, Duryodhana was blackmailing his weak-hearted father, who himself was envious of the success of Pandavas. So finally, Dhritarashtra agreed. Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, Vidura, Gandhari all opposed the idea of a dice game, but Dhritarashtra did not hear to anyone, and he always would say, मैं क्या करूं? मैं एक अबला पिता हूं. I am a helpless father who loves his son so much, and my son is so emotional. If he doesn't get what he wants, then he threatens to me that he'll give up his life. So what can I do? I love my son, so I am forced to fulfill what he wants. And as we discussed in the previous session, the dice game happened. Dice game happened twice. And the first dice game, it was the first dice game when Draupadi was insulted in the whole assembly. And then Gandhari came to the rescue of Draupadi. And then, Dhritarashtra recognized his mistake. And that time, of course, what I meant by Gandhari came to the rescue, this is way later on. Krishna came to the rescue of Draupadi. And later on Draupadi was saved from getting disrobed. And when she was about to curse all the Kshatriyas, then Gandhari entered the scene and she pacified and she requested Draupadi not to curse. At that time, Dhritarashtra got scared. And then he said, my dear daughter, please forgive all of us for what has happened. Please ask for any blessing from me. So Dhritarashtra did that because he was fearful of the curse of Draupadi, a chaste woman. If she had to curse, then there was nothing that the Kshatriyas could have done. So that time Draupadi said, give everything back what my husband have lost. And like that, Pandavas got their kingdom, got their own independence. The whole dice game ended with nothing. But Duryodhana was not at all satisfied. And they again planned to organize a second dice game. And that is the time when Pandavas lost. And the condition of the dice game was, whoever loses will have to go to the forest for 12 years and 1 year in exile. So what happened after this is the Pandavas left to the forest. To the joy of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana and all the Kauravas were so happy. Finally, Pandavas have been sent to the forest, and whatever they had built in the Prastha now belongs to us. We can enjoy their property, whatever they have done. But it looks like they must be happy. Not even a single day Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, or any of the Kauravas were happy. Although they thought if they're able to steal the kingdom, if they're able to steal the opulence that belongs to Yudhishthira Maharaj, if they're able to send Pandavas to the forest, they will be very happy, but not even for a single day, single hour. Any of the Kauravas were happy. What happened with them? And that's a very important lesson here. What happened to them? They were full of anxiety. Dhritarashtra was so worried. He could not sleep in the night. Why? Because he remembered that fateful evening when the dice game was played and Draupadi was disrobed. उस समय भीमा ने प्रतिज्ञा ली थी. Bhima took a vow because what has happened today in this assembly, I take a vow that I will kill the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. I will not only kill them, I will rip apart their chest and I will drink the blood of each of the sinful son of Kaurava, of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra could not forget that commitment and the vow of Bhima. He knew if Bhima had taken a vow, he will definitely fulfill. On top of it, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan, Shakuni, Dushasan, Karna, everyone was worried. 12 साल के लिए तो गए हैं, 12 प्लस 1 साल के बाद जब वो वापस आएंगे तो हमारा क्या होगा? In such an anxiety, the Kauravas lived every single day. At that point of time, Dhritarashtra called for his most trusted advisor. And who was the most trusted advisor of Dhritarashtra? That was Vidura. He called for Vidura. He said, Vidura, I'm so much in anxiety. Please help me. Whatever has happened. But please give some solution. Oh, Vidura, my dear brother, I wish to know how Yudhishthira and the Pandavas left the city. How was Draupadi doing? What did the exalted sage Dhaumya do as they were leaving? Now, Dhaumya was the head priest for the Pandavas. So now Vidura replies, what happened when the Pandavas were leaving to the forest? He said, when Pandavas were going to the forest, they were angry to what has happened to them, to what is done to them by you and your sons. And they were determined to come back and take what belongs to them. And they took a vow that when they will come back, they will become the cause of the destruction of you and your sons. And Dhritarashtra was really shocked. He was really worried. And then Vidura said, not only this, sage Dhaumya, when he was walking along with the Pandavas to the forest, he was chanting the mantras from Samaved. These are the mantras from Samaved which are chanted to glorify or pacify Yamarajji. So Dhritarashtra asked, why was he chanting the mantra to glorify and pacify Yamarajji? And then Vidura said he was chanting the mantras thinking that after 14 years or after 13 years when the Pandavas will come back and when they will kill all the Kauravas, then the priest would have to chant these mantras. So Dhaumya was already preparing for that destruction which would happen after 13 years because of you. And Dhritarashtra was about to get a heart attack. And then Vidura said, not only this, even your citizens are so angry and upset with you. They are cursing you, they're cursing you, they're cursing Gandhari, they're cursing even Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, Kripacharya. They do not want to live with you. Each one of them have lost trust and faith in you. Whom would you rule Dhritarashtra? You have no kingdom now because there is no citizen. And like saying like this, Vidura told them about the imminent danger or destruction that the Kauravas, awaited, or the danger that awaited Kauravas. And when Vidura spoke to like this to Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra was already heartbroken. At that time, Narad Muni came. And Narad Muni came there, and in front of everyone, that time Duryodhan, Shakuni, Dhritarashtra, everyone was present. And Narad Muni is a most celebrated sadhu. And when Dhritarashtra saw Narad Muni had come, he offered all his respect. He was thinking, Vidura could not help me. He could not give me a solution. Maybe Narad Muni would give me a solution, and inquired from Narad Muni. But before he could finish his question, Narad Muni said, Dhritarashtra, I have come here to warn you. What you and your foolish son Duryodhan have done will become the cause of your destruction. Take my word seriously, and your whole dynasty will be wiped out because of the actions of your son. Now, Narad Muni had said this, and that cannot go in vain, that cannot be false. In fact, Duryodhan became so worried and anxiety that just in a short span of 13 years, all of them would die and would suffer. And here is the first lesson, although I'm not intending to speak too many lessons and right now when we're doing storytelling, but still I'll bring out one important lesson. And the lesson is, whoever causes suffering to other, once again, whoever causes suffering to other, that person himself suffers the most. Once again, whoever causes suffering to others, that person himself suffers the most. As in the case of Kauravas, Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra, they all had caused so much suffering to the Pandavas. We'll see ahead. After a while, Pandavas were totally happy and in bliss in the forest. But Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra could not even sleep for a single night, and they continued to live in such an anxiety. The point is, we should give up this envy that we carry for others. If we are envious of others and if we act enviously towards others, then we cause destruction of ourselves. And the classic example is our Duryodhana for that. So, like this, Narad Muni, after warning the Kauravas, he went away. And in the meantime, let's go to Pandavas. What are they doing in the forest? In the meantime, Pandavas, they continued walking and they reached the bank of Ganges. So Yudhishthira thought, let us wait in the near the bank of Ganges for some time, and next morning we'll continue our journey deep in the forest. At that point of time, all the citizens of Indraprasth and Hastinapur came to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. Something similar to what had happened when Lord Ram was sent to the forest and all the Ayodhyavasis came and begged Lord Ram to return. Similarly, all the residents came and they requested Yudhishthira Maharaj. They did not came and ask Yudhishthira Maharaj to come back because now Yudhishthira Maharaj cannot go back because there are enemies in the kingdom. So they said, my dear king, we all have decided wherever our king is only Yudhishthira Maharaj, wherever you go, we'll always go with you, and that would be our kingdom. None of us want to go back to the kingdom of Indraprastha and Hastinapur. We got nothing to do with the sinful sons of Dhritarashtra. We're coming with you. And that Yudhishthira Maharaj took his time to console and pacify all the citizens. And on the on the request of Yudhishthira Maharaj, with a heavy heart, all the citizens went back to the kingdom. After this, it was an evening time. Yudhishthira Maharaj, along with his brothers Draupadi and the group of sages headed by Dhaumya Rishi, they all decided to stay back at that place, and they decided tomorrow morning they'll continue their journey. So next morning, when Yudhishthira Maharaj woke up, and when they decided, Yudhishthira Maharaj along with Pandava decided to enter deep into the forest, that time Yudhishthira Maharaj spoke something very beautiful to Dhaumya Rishi. Now this is all beginning of Vanaparva. Okay, this is what everything is mentioned in the third canto of the third chapter of Mahabharata, Vanaparva. And this is how the Vanaparva begins. So what did Yudhishthira Maharaj spoke to Dhaumya Rishi? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Dhaumya Rishi, we have lost all our wealth and will be living in the forest and sustaining ourselves on fruits and roots. The forest is infested with wild animals and evil Rakshasas. How will I be able to look after you, provide you, and protect you? Because Yudhishthira Maharaj was a Kshatriya, was a king, and as a king, they will support and provide for the Brahmanas. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is trying to tell Dhaumya Rishi, अब मैं राजा नहीं रहा हूँ, मैं अब जंगल में भटक रहा हूँ, मेरे पे खुद खाने के लिए कुछ नहीं है, मुझे अपनी खुद सुरक्षा के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, and there will be a lot of danger as we go in the forest. So kindly all of you go back to the kingdom and continue your religious activities. And Dhaumya Rishi said, what? Not at all. If you are worried about our well-being, if you're worried about who would fed us, hey Yudhishthira Maharaj, don't worry, we'll take care of ourselves. And don't worry about our protection. In fact, we will protect you. Because the sages would offer guidance to the Kshatriyas in difficult times. Dhaumya Rishi said, Yudhishthira Maharaj and you all Pandavas are so disturbed right now because of what had happened by what has been done to you by the Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. We will tell you histories and the stories from the scriptures, and we will pacify your heart. You need us more than ever before, but we promise you, because of us, you will not have any difficulty. And regarding food, don't worry. The food is provided by Surya Devta. It is Sun God who provides the food. So I request you to go and worship Surya Devta. Please him and ask him to make arrangement for all of our food for the time period for which we have to be in the forest. And that's how Yudhishthira Maharaj entered the Ganges, and for 3 days straight, Yudhishthira Maharaj offered prayers to Sun God, and Sun God appeared. And when Sun God appeared, Yudhishthira Maharaj explained what's his need, what's his desire. And then Suryadevata said, "Hey Yudhishthira Maharaj, I am pleased with your worship, and I am very happy to offer some service, some contribution to all of you. Please take this vessel." And the name of that vessel is Akshaya Patra. Take this vessel, put any amount of grain, anything you put, any single grain you put, and this Akshay Patra will give the most delicious food item that you desire. However, it has one condition, and this Akshay Patra comes with one condition is the Panchali or Draupadi should be the last person to eat. Until Draupadi eats, this Akshay Patra can offer you unlimited food varieties. But once Draupadi finished eating, then Akshay Patra would not produce any other food for the rest of the day. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was happy to receive that gift of Akshay Patra. And now at least they had one security that for the next 12 plus 1 year, 13 year, they don't have to worry about the food. And like this, Yudhishthira Maharaj and the sages were happy and continued to live their life in the forest. And that's what our Surya Devta told him, with the choicest food until Panchali has taken. In the meantime, when here in the forest, Yudhishthira Maharaj got Akshapatra and they were getting used to the forest life. In the meantime, Dhritarashtra was becoming crazy. He was becoming too mental. Why? Because he cannot sleep in the night. As soon as he goes to sleep in the night, he sees that day when Draupadi was insulted. He remembers the voice of Bhima, who roared in the assembly and he said, "I will kill every single son of Dhritarashtra." And Dhritarashtra was so fear-stricken, particularly of Bhima, because he knew the might and the strength of Bhima. He was so worried that he could not fall asleep. And that's the point I was making in the beginning today. If somebody caused harm or somebody causes harm to other person, then that person suffers the most himself. Kauravas did so much injustice to the Pandavas. Pandavas are having a peaceful sleep, but Kauravas, living in their palatial buildings with all the opulence and the comfort, still they're not happy. So that time Dhritarashtra called for Vidura. And he wanted to know from Vidura what kind of yagya, what kind of puja part the Kauravas can do, so whatever offenses and sin committed by the Kauravas can be negated. He was more interested to know that in this situation they are in, how best they can make their situation or position more powerful, so that when the time comes, when the Pandavas come and there are the chances of war, Kauravas are strong enough to fight with the Pandavas. That's what Dhritarashtra was expecting. However, when Dhritarashtra asked Vidura, "Vidura, please help, please help," Vidura got up from his place and he said, "Dhritarashtra, if you want to save your dynasty, get rid of this fool whom you call your son Duryodhan. Get rid of him." And when Dhritarashtra heard like this, because he wanted to hear something else, but he was told that get rid of your son to whom you are so attached, Dhritarashtra became very upset with Vidura and he chastised Vidura. He said, "I always cared for you. I took care of you as my younger brother, but you have always taken the side of the sons of the Pandu. Get out from this kingdom. You do not belong to this place. If you love Pandu's sons so much, go and be with the Yudhishthira Maharaj, go into the forest." And like that, Vidura, being insulted by Dhritarashtra, left the kingdom and came and met Pandavas. And when Vidura came and met Pandavas, that's the time Vidura told, "Hey Pandavas, Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra, after 13 years ends, they will never give you back your kingdom. And there will not be any option left but for you to pick your weapons and fight. So my request to you all is, use your 12 years in forest very diligently. Perform tapasya. Try to please the gods and acquire as much as celestial weapons as you can so that you are able to fight the strongest army, the strongest generals which are present in the army of Kauravas. Like what? Like Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Ashwathama, Karna, who are undefeatable. So please use that. In the meantime, when Vidura was counseling and guiding Yudhishthira like this, Dhritarashtra, when he saw that Vidura really left, he became more crazy. He said, "Oh no, I finally lost my good advisor, the best advisor. How would I live without him?" And then he called for Sanjaya and he sent Sanjay to the forest to beg Vidura, convey my forgiveness and please ask him to come back. And like that, Sanjay came where Pandavas were camping, and Sanjay came and met Vidura and invited Vidura to come back to the kingdom. Dhritarashtra is asking for forgiveness. So like this, Vidura being insulted, but being kind to his elder brother, Dhritarashtra, Vidura returned back. In the meantime, the Pandavas decided to continue the journey and they further entered and moved into the forest by the name of Kamyaka Van. This Kamyaka Van is right next to Kurukshetra. In those days, 5,000 years ago, the river Saraswati used to flow through Kurukshetra. And it was the river Saraswati that was separating the Kamyaka Van and Kurukshetra. So this Kamyaka Van existed until 1880. 1880 तक ये काम्याका वन एग्जिस्ट करता था, बट 1880 में ब्रिटिशर्स ने इस जंगल को जलाकर उसको एग्रीकल्चर लैंड में बदल दिया. तो अगर आप अभी कुरुक्षेत्र में जाओगे, वहां पे काम्याका वन के बारे में ढूंढोगे तो आपको पता नहीं चलेगा, क्योंकि वो जंगल अब है ही नहीं. वहां पे अब आपका एग्रीकल्चर लैंड है. Nonetheless, so Yudhishthira, Maharaj, Pandavas, all of them reached Kamyaka Van and they were living in the night there. At that point of time, in the night, a very fierce demon attacked the Pandavas. This demon was double the size of the tallest human being. He was humongous, he was scary, he was very powerful, and his name was Kirmira. And not only powerful, humongous, he was very angry and ferocious. With the bloodshot eyes, he was looking particularly at Bhima. And everyone was wondering why this demon is looking at Bhima. What is his, problem with Bhima particularly? And then Dhaumya Rishi told them, this Kirmira is a brother of Bakasur. You all remember Bakasur? Raise your hand or give me a thumbs up, because you cannot type in a chat box. I've disabled the chat box. Right, you remember? So Bakasur was killed on the request of a Brahmana when they were living in the house of a Brahmana. So Kirmira was a brother of Bakasur. So he knew this Bhima had killed, so I want to kill him. And not only that, this Kirmira demon was also a great friend of Hidamba, who Bhima had also killed again. So there was a big fight between Kirmira and Bhima. And finally, after a whole fight over a night, Bhima finally killed Kirmira. So when Vidura had gone back to the palace, the news has spread everywhere that Bhima had killed Kirmira. Bhima had killed Kirmira. The Kirmira was a very, very powerful demon. So Dhritarashtra, when Dhritarashtra met Vidura, he was very curious. He asked Vidura, is it true that Bhima could kill Kirmira? Kirmira is undefeatable. He was a very powerful demon. And then Vidura narrated the whole story, how Bhima single-handedly, without any weapons, fought with Kirmira, and with his fist, with his punches, he killed Kirmira. And when Dhritarashtra heard, that poor fellow got a heart attack. Because among Pandavas, he was most worried about Bhima. And recognizing the strength of Bhima, Dhritarashtra was just wondering what this Bhima, when the time comes for him to fulfill his vow, how he would treat and kill his sons. And like that, Dhritarashtra, in a constant fear, continued to live in the palace. However, the Pandavas decided to stay at Kamyaka forest, which was a very beautiful forest. As I said, there was a beautiful Saraswati river flowing through that forest. And Yudhishthira Maharaj really liked that whole Sattvic environment, and they decided to stay there for some time. And this is the time. Now, for the first time, since Pandavas have left to the forest, Krishna comes to meet the Pandavas. So please remember this certain important incidents. I'm going to ask you later on, when did Krishna met for the first time and when all Krishna met Pandavas. So this is the time at Kamyaka forest If you have a pen and paper, you should keep making these notes. So this is a time when Krishna came to meet Pandavas, and not only Krishna came, the brothers of Draupadi, Drishtadumna, and other friends and the relatives of Pandavas, Satyaki, and all of them came to meet here. And there was a big discussion, and all of them were saying to Pandavas, "Come, you should not accept this. Come with us, and we'll fight and kill the Kauravas," like that. And that's the time Draupadi asked many, many questions to Krishna. And she said, "My dear Lord, you know everything. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why Pandava's life had been threatened since the beginning? Why they have been tortured through? Why was I insulted? Why Mother Kunti's life was put into danger in Lakshagraha?" And like that, Lord Shri Krishna was asked many things. Lord Krishna spoke, and ultimately he came to the point of the dice game. Krishna said to Yudhishthira Maharaj and to all the brothers that all of you did a very, very big mistake in agreeing to the gambling match. Krishna said, the moment you agreed to play a gambling match, all auspiciousness went away from your life. And that's the time Krishna instructs Pandavas and Draupadi that any good citizen who wants to live happily in this world should never engage in four activities. Should never engage in four activities. If you engage in any of the four activities or all the four activities, you will bring about destruction to your life. And one of the four things is gambling. Whoever does gambling loses out on all virtue, all good fortune, and only misery comes in his life. And Krishna said, if Yudhishthira Maharaj could have asked me, I would have never allowed. And I could not come to help you because I was not aware that this is what is going with you. Particularly at the second dice game, Krishna was not in Dwarka. Krishna was engaged in a war with the King Salva. And in the absence of Krishna, the second dice game happened, and Krishna was not all aware what had happened that time. And like that, the Pandavas got cheated. But what are the four things that Krishna instructed that we should never do in our life? One of the things is gambling. What are the other three things? Does anyone know? I have enabled the chat. If you want, you can type in the chat message now. What are the things that we should not do? Four things. One is gambling. Gambling, no meat eating, no drinking. Yes. All of you are correct. Yes. And the four things that Krishna told them at that point of time that you should never ever do and engage into: no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and illicit relations means no chasing after women. Or, this is what I can explain at your age right now. And whoever does these things, they only invite misery in their life. After Krishna spoke and instructed Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas, and then Krishna answered Draupadi about why they had to suffer. And after pacifying, consoling Draupadi, Lord Krishna said, Draupadi, I take a vow, or I give you a promise. Whoever was present in that assembly on that evening when you were insulted, I give you a promise. Very soon, all those sinful people will die. And when Krishna gave this promise to Draupadi, that's the time Draupadi stopped crying and she was pacified. Otherwise, Draupadi was deeply hurt, of course, who will not be, and she was not able to forgive. And she was in fact chastising Yudhishthira Maharaj. Have you forgiven Kauravas for what they have done? Why don't you rise up and fight? My brother is there, Krishna is there, everyone is with you, fight. And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no, we cannot do it unless we, go through the 12 plus 1 year of exile. After that, we only can do it. But when Krishna promised, Draupadi was pacified. And after speaking to Pandavas, Krishna, Satyaki, Drishtadumna, everyone went back to their respective places. And the Pandavas continued to live in Kamyaka forest, or a Van, for some more time. But before they left to another forest, another great sage came to meet the Pandavas. So in Mahabharata, there are great details of discussion which are mentioned. I am just giving you a sequence of events what happened with them. I'm not going into details because you're still young for all those discussions, but these are the sequence of events, and this is how Pandavas were living their days in the forest. Sage Markandeya, he came to visit Pandavas. And that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Markandeya, heard about the condition of the Pandavas, he smiled. When he heard about what has happened with the Pandavas, he smiled. Now, who is Markandeya Rishi? You see in the photo here? Okay, let's give you a chat option again. Does anyone know what is this pastime here? You see a sage drowning in a water, and you see Krishna on a banana leaf here, and he's taking out his right feet outside. Anyone knows what happened here in this pastime? Markandeya Rishi. What is the special thing about Markandeya Rishi? Yes, yes, no, no. All right. Okay, no, not Krishna. Right? Okay, all right. Understood. None of you know that. Okay, I'll disable the chat now. I'm not going into too much details of Markandeya Rishi, but Markandeya Rishi had received the blessing of Brahma that he will continue to live for a whole day of Brahma. And as every Yuga cycle ends, there is a flood in the whole creation. I would say there's a whole flood on a planet for that reason. And when there's a flood, everything gets destroyed. Because Markandeya was given the blessing that he will not be killed, he will be alive. So Markandeya Rishi, actually that was not the case. Markandeya Rishi actually wanted to see the baby form of Krishna. So he was desiring for that. And suddenly he saw himself, he was sitting in a meditation, and suddenly he saw himself drowning in an ocean. There was a flood everywhere. And then suddenly he saw one tree. Among all destruction, all floods, he saw one tree. And when he reached that tree, he saw on the branch the beautiful baby Krishna lying on a banana leaf, and he's taking out his right feet outside for Markandeya Rishi to touch. So because Markandeya Rishi wanted to take the darshan of the baby Krishna form, that's the reason Krishna enacted this. So Markandeya Rishi, a great personality who was there when Lord Ram was there, not Lord Ram in this Treta Yuga. Markandeya Rishi was present when Lord Ram came in the previous Treta Yuga also. So Markandeya Rishi came, and everyone knew how great Markandeya Rishi is. And when he heard from Pandava Yudhishthira Maharaj about the situation, Markandeya Rishi smiled. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Oh, illustrious Rishi, all the ascetics and Brahmins are pained by our situation, yet you smile? How is it so? Is there any special meaning to your smile?" Now Markandeya Rishi gave a very, very beautiful answer. And Markandeya Rishi said, "My dear child, I do not smile because I'm happy with your situation. No, I smile because I am reminded of the exceptional coincidence of circumstances between all of you and Lord Shri Ram, the son of Dashrath Maharaj. Just like you have been sent to the forest or exiled to the forest, similarly, I remember seeing Lord Ram on the mountain Rishyamukha, traveling along with his wife Sita and younger brother Lakshman, because he was also exiled from his kingdom, because he was about to become the king next day. And he was also loyal to the words of his father, Dashrath Maharaj, and he also decided, despite the request that he should come back, he decided that he'll continue to live in the forest. Similarly, you, Yudhishthira Maharaj, although everyone is requesting you to go back, but you have decided to follow because you would not give up on your word, and you will continue to live in the forest until the end of the 13th year. And like this, Markandeya Rishi said and spoke to them. And like this, Markandeya Rishi, after blessing them, saying that very soon the 13 years will end, and then you can go back and you'll be able to win your kingdom back. After getting that words of confirmation from Markandeya Rishi, Pandavas continue to live in the forest until one day another great personality came to meet Pandavas. Now, if you see in all this context, everyone, all the great personalities came to meet Pandavas, and they all gave blessings. However, when Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, Sage Maitreya, whenever they went to meet Kauravas, they only cursed them. Why? Because dharma is always protected. Because Yudhishthira Maharaj was always by the side of dharma, that's the reason he always received the blessings. Whereas Kauravas was sinful, so they only got cursed. They were so miserable that they could not sleep in the night. And the Vyasdev came to meet Pandavas, and then Vyasdev instructed Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj, about various subject matter. And then Vyasdev also gave them the advice. It is very important for all of you to prepare for the inconsequential or for the inevitable, because Duryodhan will not give you a kingdom back and you will have no option left but to engage in war. And they are very powerful. So if you want to fight and win your kingdom back, you are a Kshatriya, that is your dharma duty to protect dharma. So you might have to fight, but for that you have to prepare yourself. So I request that Arjuna should go out in search of celestial weapons. And now in this Vana Parva begins a very fascinating and adventurous journey of Arjuna, where he begins to climb up the mountain, particularly the Himalayas. He has reached Badrinath, and from Badrinath he's climbing up and he's trying to go to the heaven, when on the way he meets Lord Shiva. And there's a big fight happens between Lord Shiva and Arjuna. And Lord Shiva, finally pleased with Arjuna, gives him his Pashupatinath weapon. And from there, he continues to walk further and he reaches Indralok. He meets his father Indra and then pleases the gods, acquire many weapons. And there are many beautiful incidents that happen in the heaven. Finally, Arjuna comes back. And then Vyasa also instructs him that you should go and visit all the tirthas. So after Arjuna comes back with all the celestial weapons, then all the Pandavas goes and visit all the other tirthas like Rameshwaram and Badrika Ashram, like that. And then, as we know ahead, Durvasa Muni was sent by Kauravas, particularly Duryodhan. We'll be discussing about it. Like this, there are many interesting things that happen that we'll see tomorrow. We'll pause here until today what we have discussed, and we'll get more into the details of the adventurous journey of Arjuna's search for weapon. And in those remaining years ahead, Bhima meets Hanumanji, and then Yudhishthira meets Yaksha, because Yaksha had killed the 4 brothers of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And there's an incident of Yudhishthira Maharaj delivering a big, huge serpent. The serpent who had actually killed Bhima. And to save Bhima, Yudhishthira Maharaj, the serpent said, you have to answer my question. And there was a good debate between that serpent and Yudhishthira Maharaj. Like that, there are many incidents that happen. A beautiful and the most exciting part of Mahabharata, of this 12 years of the exile to the forest. And we'll see all that tomorrow when we meet. So with that, we thank you all for your kind attention. Today, we just saw how in the beginning days, they spent their days in the forest, and how different great personalities came, consoled Pandavas, advised them, and finally Vyasa told them, go, Arjuna, and search for the celestial weapons. You should prepare for the inevitable, the war that will happen between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. With that, we thank you all for joining today evening. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you all the kids for being part of the evening session. I hope the stories of Mahabharata, you are able to connect with them, is making all sense to you. We'll continue this discussion. I love this Mahabharata. It's very beautiful. But as I said, I will go into the lessons more deeply once I finish most of the Mahabharata, at least to give you the whole overview. And I will also request, if possible,